Alright, hello people, I'm the dude and this is my review, rant, of the movie Room 237. To start off, I'm just going to read the summary here. A documentary that explores the numerous theories about the hidden meanings within Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, which continues to inspire debate, speculation, and mystery more than 30 years after its release. Using voiceover, film clips, animation, and dramatic reenactments, Room 237 investigates 5 very different point of views, drawing the audience into a new maze, one with many ways in, but no way out. That's very obscure, that little blurb there, summary, whatever you want to call it. It's very obscure and it's probably misleading in more than one way. Basically what the movie is about in a nutshell, and obviously there's going to be spoilers, and the movie itself is a documentary about The Shining, which obviously has lots of spoilers. So if you want to see this or The Shining and you haven't seen them, stop the video. So yeah, Room 237 in a nutshell. It's a breakdown of The Shining from the point of view of people who want to see something more than is easily understandable. Does that make sense? They're looking at the movie, trying to find meaning where there may or may not be. So it's not the people, the point of view of the people from the outside view looking in seem to be just random people that aren't necessarily celebrities. They're just conspiracy theorist type people. I mean, to coin a very popular phrase, there's 2 types of people. There's people that want to believe, like, Fox Mulder, and there are people that don't want to believe, the cynics. I particularly am a cynic. I do not want to believe. I have to be given evidence for me to believe. I'm not grasping at straws, I don't think there's the Loch Ness Monster. No, horseshit. I don't think anything supernatural exists. There's no ghosts. There's none of that garbage. I mean, if there was, I personally would have run into one by now. I've lived long enough where if there's something supernatural in nature, it would have run into me. I would have had some kind of real experience with it, in my opinion. So I don't want to believe. I'm not a believer. But these people are. The ones that are in this documentary talking about The Shining, basically grasping at straws. Some of what they said, and I stress the word some, maybe a little bit of what they say does have some kind of grounding in truth, because Stanley Kubrick, he's known for putting all these little breadcrumbs in his movies for people to latch onto, to try to find meaning in. I don't know if that was his way of basically just giving the audience the middle finger, or if he actually had some kind of subcontext in his movies, some subtext, some greater meaning to his movies. It could be either way. They say early on that he has like a 200 IQ, and apparently that means you have to be obtuse as all hell. You can't make a movie about what you want to make a movie about. You have to make a movie about something completely different, and then put all these little, hidden meanings all over the place. But anyways, some of the things that they think The Shining is actually about: the Holocaust, I don't see it. The Native Americans, us as settlers massacring the Native Americans, I don't see it. Some lady was obsessed with it being about Greek mythology, like Jack represents the Minotaur, and the hotel represents a maze, and she's not, just trying to piece all this shit together. It doesn't work for me. It really doesn't. Some guy thinks that Stanley Kubrick faked the Apollo moon landing, and this movie was his way of telling us about it. Because some of the imagery looks like a spaceship, and the kid happens to be wearing a shirt that said Apollo 11 on it or something like that. It's basically, they grab every fucking thing they can to support their theory and ignore everything else. That's the fundamental problem of this way of thinking. It's like, this is the documentary version of that Jim Carrey movie. It's like Number 23 or something like that, where he sees meaning in numbers, but he ignores everything else. Like this number and this number multiply to equal this number, but they don't there's no division to equal that number, or addition to equal that number, or subtraction to equal that number, They just see what they want to see. You know, that's what this movie is in a nutshell. And I don't agree with any of it. I think all of it is horseshit. Like I said, I'm not a believer. I'm thoroughly a skeptic. I'm a cynic. I don't believe in anything unless it's basically spelled out in black and white, or there's concrete proof that it exists, that kind of thing. But having said that, the movie itself was entertaining. I liked it quite a bit. I didn't agree with any of it, but it was still really entertaining to follow their logic, if you will, to follow their really hazy, half-ass logic to, from point A to point B. It was really fun. I think some of their points, like I said earlier, I think some of their points might somewhat be grounded in reality. A lot of them like to mention that a lot of the set design doesn't make any sense. In other words, the set is the house, the hotel, and some of the shots, whenever they show shots, they change in other shots. Like they'll turn a corner and it'll be a different layout, or something else will be there that's not supposed to be there, or the hallways don't lead where they should, stuff like that. I think that more plays into this being a horror movie. I mean, most horror movies like to throw you off, red herrings, and confuse you and unsettle you and stuff like that. I think it plays more into that than it does their horse shit that they're trying to prove. But I think there's some based in reality proof there that the sets actually don't quite match up. I think some of them they were off. They're turning the angles to make it look like it's different, but it's really not. But some of them you can't even dispute that there are changes. And some of the shots, there's quote unquote movie mistakes where things change, like a sticker removes itself from the door, and the carpet on the ground changes directions and stuff like that. Was that intentional? Was it a mistake? There's so many of them in this particular movie that I think maybe it was intentional. I don't think it was intentional in the way they think it is to prove their little theories. I think it was him, again, making a horror movie, trying to unsettle people, trying to confuse you. I think this is a horror movie. I don't think it is anything more than that. If it is, it's possible. Like I said, I mean, it is possible that he wanted to put some greater meaning behind the movie, but if he did, he was so fucking vague about it that everyone and their mother has a different theory. I mean, if there really is enough evidence here in this movie to prove one theory, then everyone wouldn't have a different one about the movie. They wouldn't think that it's about the Holocaust, like a greater inner look at man as a whole, or, the Native Americans, or the Apollo moon landings. I mean, every single one of them has a different theory. And they all have like 5,000 different little, coincidences that they grab out of the movie to prove their theory. If there was a real meaning behind this, one of them would have the evidence, and the rest of them would just be, grasping at straws. But no, they all are. So yeah, it was a really interesting movie. Stanley Kubrick makes great movies. Some of them are highly criticized because some of them are boring. They're a little slower than they should be for a movie. Movies are meant to be entertaining people. That's the point of movies. Some of them are way too slow. Some of them are way too introspective. Some of them are way too confusing. I mean, this movie right here, The Shining, extremely confusing movie. I mean, just sit through the movie and try to follow the plot. Try to piece together why people are in scenes, why things just happened, what it has to do with the rest of the movie. I mean, very confusing, extremely confusing. Most of the stuff just seems to be there for the hell of it, there's no way to piece it into the main plot of the movie. A lot of the characters just seem to be saying things that have nothing to do with anything. I don't know, but it's still a great horror movie because it's got some really effective scenes. Like everyone's favorite, the blood coming out of the elevator. Great scene the first time you see it. The scene where what's the kid's name? I can't remember his name. I just watched the movie and I can't remember his name. But anyways, Jack's son, he's riding around on his little big wheel, right? I had one of those when I was a kid, by the way. Riding around on his little big wheel, and he runs into the girls. And then there's this flash scene where they're dead. And, there's blood everywhere, and, really great horror imagery. Really good stuff. Not scary, but unsettling. Makes you feel uneasy. That kind of horror. Really good. And Stanley Kubrick's great at that. He's great at a lot of like nuanced stuff. He's not like an in-your-face kind of director where it's gonna be all, blatant. You know, it's all subversive. And it's really cool. Let's see, what else? Maybe it had some vague, uh, I don't know. I mean, like, a lot of the stuff that they ignore made more sense to me. Like, they ignored all the best horror scenes in the movie. Like, they allude to one where she rounds a corner, Wendy rounds a corner, the wife, and the room is basically filled with the dead. And it's one of the best effective horror scenes in the movie because it comes out of nowhere, literally. I mean, she's running around doing her thing, escaping Jack, you know, trying to stay alive, trying to keep her kid alive. All that's obvious because you've seen that coming from throughout the movie. You know, Jack is slowly going insane, and you've seen him start, you know, chasing them around, attacking them. But she rounds that corner, and it's like she's in his world. She's, at the very least for that moment, seeing what shouldn't be there. You know, stuff like that. That's a really great scene. And the scene in the maze, they almost completely ignore all of the horror elements. Like the scene in the maze where his son is basically running for his life from his dad. They gloss over that completely and basically just focus on the maze itself. How the maze relates to whatever the hell point they're trying to make. No, that scene was great because it was a son, very young child, running away from his father who's chasing him with an axe. That was a great scene, just in and of itself. And when he loses him, when he backtracks, how the hell did the kid figure that out? You know, he backtracks in the snow to cover up his tracks, and then basically create a dead end. The tracks will dead end and then disappear. He backtracks on his own tracks and then covers up the snow so you can't see where he went. That was a great ending to that scene. Really cool. But yeah, just so many really good ideas in this movie as a horror movie. And they kind of just gloss over that completely. Like, no, it's not a horror movie. It's this. And I'm like, no, it's not that. It's a horror movie. That's what it is. I mean, that's what it works as, in my opinion. It works as a horror movie. It doesn't work as all this other horse shit. There's just not enough evidence to support it. They pull a lot of evidence out of their ass, but most of it's just extremely vague, you know, and like coincidences and stuff that, you know, was probably in there to intentionally make the movie more unsettling, and they're grabbing it for their own reasons, and, you know, it just didn't work for me at all. Still, like I said, it was really entertaining. Like, they'll make these very tenuous connections between different things that really didn't have anything to do with each other, or, I think one guy actually late in the movie, like we're talking about like right at the end of this movie, Room 237, not The Shining, he mentions that, oh, it could all be coincidence, you know, or I could just be, you know, seeing what I want to see, that kind of thing. He says some kind of phrase like that, and I'm like, yeah, that's what you're doing. That is exactly what you're doing. There's no maybe about it. That's exactly what you're doing. One guy out of all the people in this documentary, he actually admits it at the very end of the movie. I'm like, yes, that's it. I think, and every time anyone grabs onto numbers and how they can be combined to create other numbers that have some greater meaning, that is the ultimate in horseshit. It really is. Because it's always one way. You know, it's like, in this case, Room 237, that's where most of the crazy shit happens in this movie. If you multiply 2, 3, and 7, it equals 42, which has some greater meaning for the movie, and it's used a couple of times in the movie. Like, there's a 42 on one of the shirts or something, and the date is 1942. Of course, they ignore the 19. And it's always like, you know, 2 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 7. They don't care that 2 plus 3 plus 7 means absolutely nothing. You know, they don't care that 2 divided by 3 divided by 7 means absolutely nothing. You know, it's just this, it's one path of logic that they latch onto that means something for them. It's such horseshit. 99, you know, 0.999 times out of 100, numbers aren't going to mean shit, you know, in movies. You're not going to add them up and they have some greater meaning. It doesn't work that way. It's just, it's you know, the ultimate self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, you go looking for something, you're going to find it. That's just the way it is. And I think that's what this movie's about, more than anything. More than even The Shining. You know, more than even greater meaning behind The Shining. It's all about people seeing what they want to see. You know, people looking for something and finding it. The ultimate believer, you know, movie. People who want to believe in something greater, you know. Something greater than what's actually in front of them. But if nothing else, I think that's what the documentary was really about. And it was entertaining. I don't agree with any of it, but it was still really fun to watch. I think the reason that there's this many people that think, and there are a lot, not just people in this movie. If you go on the internet and look up Stanley Kubrick movies, there's a lot of people that want to see more in his movies that are actually there. That is actually, on screen. But I think it is a combination of him being really, I don't even know how to describe it, really obtuse, just like intentionally complex with his directing and his, set design and choice of, locations and dialogue. And basically everything in his movies, for the most part, seems to be more than what it actually is. I don't think that's true. I don't think it is, but he's just very complex like that with his choices. Like, why are all the rooms in The Shining red? It could be because it's a horror movie and it's supposed to indicate blood. That's the simplest answer. But these people see 150 different other things that it could be for them being red. Some guy thinks the movie's all about sexual innuendo. Like, the red is, well, I'll let you, fill in the blank there. But like, everyone thinks it's something else. And if it was anyone else, if it wasn't a Stanley Kubrick movie, every big scene wouldn't be in this like blood red room. Everyone else would have just splattered some blood on the walls or something, or done something more obvious with it. But that's probably the least obvious example of the bunch that I can think of. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things in his movies that you can latch onto, and it's like I said, it's seeing what you want to see, wish fulfillment, stuff like that. If you go looking for something, you're gonna find it. I mean, that's true in anything. Especially numbers. If you go looking for a meaning in numbers, you're gonna find it eventually. If you multiply and add and subtract and, do enough, if you do it enough, you're going to find what you're looking for. But, yeah, it was, I don't know, it was interesting. This is a movie that, if you like something different, this isn't an actual movie. It's a documentary, but it's not even really a documentary. It's more about them and their, I don't want to say crazy, but their, what's the word I'm searching for? Delusions, I guess? They kind of ran with the movie. These people and their theories kind of ran with the movie. It didn't seem to have much of an agenda, because they all have a different idea about what this is about. The documentary itself, most documentaries want to tell you something. This one was just kind of there. Like, here's a bunch of people with differing ideas about what a movie might be really about. Here you go. That was the movie. There's no, if anything, like I said, it's more about the people themselves and how they're just like, I don't know how to put it accurately, other than the way I've already put it, where they're basically just seeing what they want to see. That's what they're doing. That's what this movie is about in the end. And I liked it. I thought most of the people, they had an air of confidence about what they were saying, and it seemed like most of what they were saying didn't make any sense. So it was kind of a weird juxtaposition or whatever, their voices, their narration, because it's not just some random narrator narrating it all. They're narrating their own stories themselves, and they all sound really confident, but most of what they're saying just sounds really half-assed. I mean, like harebrained, nothing that I would see in a scene. I think my favorite of the bunch is the Minotaur lady. Just to give you an idea, we'll take one direct scene from the movie itself. Okay, so there's a scene where you're looking at the two little girls that were killed by her father, or their father, and they're in this doorway. Around the doorway, there's these bunch of pictures on the wall, and the pictures show one of them has a skier, one of them has an Indian, and one of them has a guy riding a bull, right? Okay, what do you get out of that scene? I got absolutely nothing out of that scene. I thought they were just pictures on a wall, right? Okay, she says that his skis don't exist. At the bottom of the scene, they're I can't remember how she put it, but they're not really there. His arms represent the horns, and if you take the skis away, his legs look like hooves. I didn't see any of this shit at all. None of it. I mean, even giving her the benefit of the doubt and going through the picture like she's describing it, I still didn't see it. But she's like, oh no, it's a Minotaur. And I'm like, no, No, it's not. It's a skier. And then she's like, and if you look on the other side of the doorway, there's this guy riding a bull. And there's a bull in that scene. So the two link together because, a bull and a minotaur. I'm like, what? The hell are you talking about? And then in the middle, there's like an Indian or something like that. And she's like, he's got, deer antler on his head or whatever. And that's obviously looks like a minotaur. I'm like, what? And she's like, in the other parts of the movie, there's a maze. So the maze obviously means that this is, some kind of minotaur here. And I'm like, no? What are you talking about, lady? I mean, this is just one example of the kind of crazy in this movie. And I hesitate to use the word crazy. Like I said, it is in the realm of possibility that this is all true. That Stanley Kubrick put, like, subliminal messages in the movie, and it was supposed to mean all these different things, and, everyone is correct. I highly, highly doubt it. But it is in the realm of possibility. But to me, it just sounds ludicrous. Ridiculous. I mean, that's just one scene in this movie. There's tons of them where these little things, really small things, happen, and they grab that one thing to prove their point. And that one small thing has nothing to do with what they're talking about at all. Nothing at all. Or they try and force multiple coincidences to mean something that they don't. Let's see if I can remember another one. Let's see. Oh, right, yeah, the guy who thinks it's all about sex. In the room 237, right, on the carpet, there's this really weird design where it's kind of like this straight line, and there's circles going around it, and creates kind of like this leaf shape. He's like, oh, well, that's obviously, the line in the middle is a dick, and it's having sex with the circles, and it's having sex throughout time, and this is, the perpetuation of the species. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? You think that Stanley Kubrick bought this carpet, created it, just to look like this obscure-ass horseshit that you're coming up with. That's his idea. Because to prove all their theories, all of this has to be intentional, right? Which means Stanley Kubrick created and designed every single part of this hotel. Everything. The carpet, the walls, the pictures, the hallway designs. He recreated the hallways to change them because they obviously changed, and that means this and this and this. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? No, most of this stuff was just there. It's just a set, He didn't create every single thing in every single scene from scratch to mean something else. There's no way, dude. That is just insane logic. So yeah, I mean, let's see if I can think of some of the other crazy ones. Oh right, this is one of the better ones. Someone thought that the kid, I can't remember his name, I think his name's like Andy. He thinks the kid is controlling other scenes. There's a lot of scenes in the movie where the kid seems to be going like crazy. He's fidgeting and his head's all going nuts and he's like drooling and all this stuff. He thinks in those scenes, because it'll usually cut away to something crazy happening, he thinks the kid is causing them. Like the kid is controlling the father, or the kid is trying to warn the mother, or the kid is seeing visions of things that might happen. Stuff like that. That actually kind of makes sense. Because that's not some greater conspiracy theory plot, all this horseshit. It's actually could be part of a horror movie. So, and plus, it's very obscure, those scenes. What is actually happening? Is he having a fit? I mean, is he losing his mind, the kid? Is the kid losing his mind too? What's going on in those scenes? It's unexplained. Whereas a lot of this other stuff's just mundane, and they're just kind of latching onto it. Like, the design on the carpet means this. And they all think it's something different too. Like, the guy who thinks that Stanley Kubrick faked the Apollo moon landings, he thinks the carpet is designed to look like the layout of, the NASA Space Center or whatever. He thinks the carpet looks just like the layout from like satellite view. And some other guy thinks it means like a greater meaning of humanity as a whole and society and all. Like they're literally just like grasping at straws. And it was entertaining, but at the same time it was ludicrous. That never really made any sense. It's entertaining from like an outside perspective, looking at people who are thinking of something completely different than I am. Basically, I would have never in a million years put any of this crap together and thought it was anything more than what it is. So yeah, really interesting. Oh, another one of the cool ones was the what is he called? The caretaker guy, or whoever he is. I hate to do this, but the black guy, I can't remember what his name is. Him getting killed is supposed to be the audience getting killed, and we're supposed to realize some greater truth that humanity is blind to the horrors of the past, and no, even better. The how did he put it? I don't want to butcher it. I want to put it right, or say it right. Hold up. Okay, so I had to actually go back and watch it again. I'll probably watch this movie a couple more times just because it's that interesting. There's a lot of things you can miss the first time through. But anyways, he says something to the effect of, he quotes Stalin. Stalin says something like, if you kill one person, it's a tragedy, or something like that. But if you kill 1 million people, it's a statistic. And there's supposed to be some kind of disconnect between large numbers of deaths and a single person, or like a handful of people. In reality, I don't think it has anything to do with the numbers. I think it has to do more with being there, being able to relate to the situation, like being in the city when the murder occurs, or being a part of the family, or, knowing the person, or something like that. The reason people don't connect to the Holocaust these days isn't because a lot of people were murdered. It's because they weren't alive when the Holocaust happened, for the most part. I mean, I wasn't alive when the Holocaust happened. I don't think of it on a daily basis. It doesn't affect my daily life. I don't go around, obviously I shouldn't be laughing, this is a serious situation, but I don't go around thinking about the Holocaust on a daily basis because it didn't affect my life at all. I wasn't even alive when it happened. So, it's not because a lot of people were murdered. In the same vein, random people that were killed before I was alive, even if it was just a few people, I don't think about them either because I didn't know them. It has nothing to do with numbers. It has nothing to do with how many people were killed. It has to do with being able to relate to the situation. If I lived in the Holocaust and every day people were talking about it, and the realization of it came to pass while I was alive, in the news and all that, it would have made a bigger impact on me. It's about being alive when it happened. It's about being part of it, if that makes sense. But the way they put it in the movie is that everyone is disconnected from the horrors of the past, like, the Holocaust and slaughtering the Native Americans and any other big tragedy. People these days forget about it. It doesn't affect them. It's not a part of our thinking, in our day-to-day lives. And the movie itself is supposed to be about that, but it's supposed to connect the audience. This is his logic. It's supposed to connect the audience to that greater meaning, which, by the way, is extremely obscure in this movie. There's no way that anyone who wasn't looking for it would see the Holocaust in this movie. But anyways, his logic is that the on-screen horror, the wife and the son running away from the husband, the father, trying to stay alive, the horror aspect of the movie is supposed to get us in a certain mood, supposed to make us unsettled and scared and frightened and all that, and that is somehow supposed to transition into the greater meaning of the movie, being the Holocaust or whatever. This is the most fail logic I've ever heard. I mean, this one guy earlier in the movie admitted to himself that no one else sees this. That when the movie came out, no one saw any of this. It was just him. He was telling his friends about it, and they're like, "Oh, okay, ooh, that's cool." If no one else sees the subtext, then there is no connection. I mean, the horror on the screen, the family falling apart and the husband going crazy and all that, the literal horror, if you will, does not connect to this other stuff. If the other stuff's so damn obscure that the audience can't even recognize it. I mean, I think he says at some point that even on a subconscious level, no, I'm not connecting to it even on a subconscious level. It's that fucking obscure. I mean, none of that even would even occur to me at all in the slightest. I mean, something on a subconscious level has to be simple. Your subconscious isn't intellectual. That's the point. It's not going to piece things together and make, assumptions. That's not the way it works. Your subconscious might see a color and it might create some kind of thought, like red blood, or something like that. That makes sense. But no, all these obscure little clues being pieced together and coming up with, oh, the Holocaust in my subconscious? No, not going to happen. I'm sorry. That's just ridiculous. So yeah, there's lots of really cool moments in this movie where people are just batshit crazy and just like, like trying to put things together that just aren't there, or at the very least are very vague, and may or one little thing that they've latched onto may or may not mean what they think it means, maybe, but yeah, I mean, very, 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 and like I said, it comes back to the movie itself. The movie itself is a Stanley Kubrick movie through and through. It's really strange, I mean, he purposely tries to throw you off all the damn time. That's why some of the scenes don't match up. That's why some of the hallways don't connect the way they should. And, it's part of what makes his movies interesting. Like, his movies really aren't exciting, for the most part. I can't think of one that I've watched that's, like, an exciting movie, like a blockbuster type movie. They're all more subdued, but strange things are happening, and your mind goes in different directions because of that. And that's why they're entertaining. But, yeah. The Shining, great movie. Jack Nicholson doing all kinds of crazy. You really get in that movie. And Wendy's great. I can't remember her name, but she played Popeye's girlfriend. What's Popeye's girlfriend's name? I haven't seen those cartoons in forever. Oh my god. What is her name? I can't remember her name. I used to watch cartoons like that. The, Porky the Pig and the Road Runner and the Coyote and Bugs Bunny, all that stuff. I used to watch that non-stop when I was a kid. Those were the only real cartoons back then, when I was literally a small child. That was really it at that time. That's what was on TV for kids all the damn time, was those really old cartoons, which always had the lion roaring for some reason. I think it was this, I don't know, MGM or something. Maybe that's their logo. I can't remember. It's been so long. Olive Oil. Okay, she played Olive Oil. The lady who played Wendy in The Shining. I'm sorry, I can't remember her name. Maybe it's on here somewhere. But, yeah. She was great. She was extremely believable. When crazy shit starts happening, I'm kind of going into The Shining more now than Room 237, but whatever. When crazy shit actually starts happening, the look on her face and the way she reacts to the situations and everything, like when he's hacking his way through the door in that famous scene, and when he's chasing her around the hotel, and when she's running for her life out in the maze and all that, trying to find her son, all of it is extremely believable. Their acting performances are really damn good. One of Jack Nicholson's best movies by far. When he goes off the deep end, when he goes crazy in this movie, you feel it, you see it. It's there. It's not bullshit. It looks very real. And yeah, I'm not seeing her name on here. Himself. What the hell? Oh, duh, I'm not on The Shining. I am brilliant. Thank you. Yes, I am. Sometimes I get ahead of myself. Shelley Duvall, that must be it right there. Was that really the poster? No way. Wow, that is a terrible poster. A masterpiece of modern horror, yes. Assuming that says Stanley Kubrick. That is a terrible poster. What? Whose face is that? It looks like an alien or something, and why is everything yellow? Shouldn't it be red? I think the only thing I can think of in the movie that's yellow is their VW bug is yellow at the beginning. They make a point of mentioning that alright, that was another thing. That, obviously this was made, the screenplay was made by Steven Spielberg. Or not Steven Spielberg, who is it? The horror director. My brain stopped working. Oh, come on. Really? Oh, this is ridiculous. Okay, hold up. Shining book. Who wrote the book? No, not the movie, the book. Stephen King. There we go. God damn, I don't know why I can remember his name. But Stephen King wrote the book. And the book it sold well. It was a really good book. People loved it. For some reason, he let Stanley Kubrick make the movie, even though Stanley Kubrick didn't write the book or create the screenplay or any of that. And Stanley Kubrick basically just did whatever he wanted with it. The majority of the big plot points that happen in the book don't happen in the movie. He changed it in serious ways. And apparently, the way Stephen King wrote it, the book, the VW bug is red. At the start of the movie, when they're going to the hotel, the VW bug is red. And, at the start of the book, in the movie, it's yellow. And later on, when the caretaker guy is coming to the hotel to try to save them from the father, he sees a wreck on the side of the road, and there's a crushed VW Bug under an 18-wheeler. And the crushed VW Bug is red. So this is supposed to imply that the books, you know, whatever you want to call it, the book's been crushed. Let's put it that way. The book has been crushed under the 18-wheeler. Stephen King's version of the story is being crushed, basically. And Stanley Kubrick's doing whatever he wants with it. So he supposedly that scene is a metaphor for that. And I can kind of see it. I mean, it kind of makes sense. It is a VW Bug. It is red. That's the way it was supposed to be. That's the way it was in the book. And it's crushed under a semi. So I guess, kind of. I can see that. But yeah, Stephen King, really good author. Makes really good movies. I can't say that. He has made really good movies. Some of his movies are crap. Let's see. Stephen King movies. Obviously it's amazing. Shawshank Redemption, great movie. The Shining wasn't Stephen King. Like I just said, Stanley Kubrick changed way too much of it to still be a Stephen King thing. He basically turned it into whatever he wanted. The Mist was really good. I didn't love The Green Mile, but then I don't really like dramas that much. Carrie, I never really liked Carrie much. It seemed like it was too overt, whereas usually Stephen King's more about psychological horror. It seemed like Carrie was just, yes, it had, context to it. Yes, it had meaning behind the horror. There was, they treated her like shit. She got superpowers. It's about people when they get power, if they've been treated like shit, how they would use it, that kind of thing. But the horror itself was just, it's okay. I didn't really love it. The Stand was okay. I actually liked 1408 quite a bit. I don't think that one got enough credit. That was a really cool movie. That's another one where if you wanted to read into it, you could. Because just so many things are going on in that movie. It's one of those movies that's meant to confuse you. Because it's all about him being trapped in a room. And all kinds of crazy shit happening. Some of it relates to his past. Some of it relates to the hotel itself. And some of it may or may not relate to characters that he met before he got into the room. And it's all very confusing, and it's really fun, though. It's a fun ride. And by the end, things have happened that mean something. But anyways, Rose Red, I think that was a TV show or something like that. Don't remember much about it. Secret Window was complete crap. Might be the worst movie he's ever done. Let's see. Movies A to Z. Never heard of it. Carrie was meh. Cat's Eye was good. One of his older movies. Children of the Corn I thought was way overrated. Good horror movie, but way overrated. Christine was good. Again, probably way too overrated. This wasn't a great horror movie to me. The idea of the car coming to life and running people over and all that. That in and of itself could have been scary, but I don't think he handled it well. A lot of the scenes I'm like, why didn't you just get out of the way? Or why didn't you see that coming? That kind of thing. The horror itself wasn't believable. Not that the idea couldn't have been scary. Creepshow, they were good. Cujo was fucking terrifying when I was a kid. The idea of a dog, something that was, some dogs can be huge, and I was small back then, so the idea of a dog, a big-ass fucking dog that wants to eat you, that's scary. That's something that could actually happen in real life. You see dogs in your everyday life. So that was fucking scary. And this dog was evil in this movie. If you haven't seen Cujo, go watch it. Oh my god. That was a scary movie. The Dark Half, I don't know what that is. The Dead Zone, eh. Dolores Claiborne was crap. Dreamcatcher was interesting, but it wasn't a great horror movie. It was way too cheesy to be a great horror movie, but it was interesting. It was a fun ride. The aliens come to Earth, and they can hide in human skin, and these people all have magical telepathic powers from some alien that came to Earth before the evil aliens, and really hard to follow. Really weird movie, but it was fun. Firestarter, obviously great movie. Graveyard Shift, really good movie. Yeah, really good movie. Very underrated movie, too. This one doesn't get enough credit. But yeah, really, really good movie. Let's see. Green Mile, like I said, didn't really work for me. Hearts in Atlantis, I haven't seen that one. The Mangler? I haven't seen that one either. The Mangler. Workers of the Blue Ribbon Laundry have been having a suspicious number of deaths while working on a piece of machinery known as the Mangler. Why would you work on something that's known as the Mangler? When police officer John Hunton decides it's time... Go away. To investigate why, he learns that the laundry's owner, Bill Gartley, has purposely been sacrificing young virgins to the possessed machinery in order to maintain his and the town's other elders' prosperity. What? Holy shit! So there's some evil machine in a laundry, a place that they do laundry, and they're sacrificing virgins to it to try and stay young. Oh my god, how did I miss this? This sounds fucking all kinds of crazy awesome. I'm gonna have to watch that. The Mangler. Never heard of it. Maximum Overdrive. There's another one I've never heard of. Based on a short story Trucks from the Night Shift collection. Oh, okay. After a rogue comet, another comet, which hides the presence of a UFO, trucks and other machines come alive and begin killing people. Oh, it's like Christine. The story takes place at Dixie Boy Truck Stop, where honeymooners Connie and Kurt, several of the travelers, have gone to try to escape the carnage. They went to a truck stop to escape trucks. Did I read that right? How does that make any sense? And other diners soon find themselves trapped. The restaurant owner, Bubba Hendershot, convinces Robinson to try to lead the group against the killing machines. Yeah, don't, just stay in the building where it's safe. Go fight the giant, 2-ton trucks and shit. That makes sense. That's perfectly logical. King, who directed the film, also plays a cameo as a man attempting to use an ATM. Huh. What does this cover art have to do? Oh, there's a car right there. Okay. Okay, so there's cars in the background. There's two people. I guess those are the leads. I don't know who this guy is. He's like creasing through the middle of the... I don't know. Whatever. It sounds hilariously bad. Is what it sounds like. Same for the Mangler. It sounds hilariously bad. Mercy, eh. Misery was unsettling. Let's put it that way. Especially if you don't know what's going to happen in the movie. If you haven't seen this movie, watch it before you look it up. Some of the scenes in that movie are unsettling as all hell. It's like, what's that movie called? It's called The Something. Hold up. I gotta look. I actually have the movie. Oh, never mind. It's not called The. Sorry, it's called Audition. It's called Audition. It's very much like that movie where everything's kind of happening and you're like, oh, okay, this is kind of meh. And then a scene hits and it's like a Mack truck just smacked you in the face. Like that kind of cringing, just abject pain. Oh my god. But yeah, Misery and Audition are both just like that. It's like kind of moving along at a really kind of slow pace and then, oh fuck, that just really happened. That kind of thing. But yeah, Misery, ugh. The Mist, great movie. Yeah, really good movie. Doesn't get enough credit either. Doesn't get enough credit at all. I really, really liked this movie. It's a play on The Fog, obviously, but I think this one was more about the people and how they react to the situation than it was about, ooh, there's monsters in the fog, So it's a play on the same idea, but he did something different with it. So yeah, it was really good. I loved the ending. Oh, the ending was amazing. I feel like I've already talked about this at some point in another review, Rant. I think. But yeah, the ending was fucking amazing. I saw the ending coming. Sorry, I saw the start of the ending coming. I saw what he was going to do coming. Obviously, I think everyone would. And then after that, what happened was just, oh my god. Like, after he does what you see coming, then the real ending hits, and you're like, oh wow, that really happened? I'm not going to spoil it because it's really that good. But yeah, really, really good movie. I liked it quite a bit. One of his later works that I liked quite a bit. Needful Things. Needful Things was weird. Really, really strange movie. Really odd. I don't think it was as scary as it was just kind of interesting, I guess. But yeah, really weird movie. Hard to put into words. Pet Sematary, fucking amazing. I love that movie. The Night Flyer. The Night Flyer is more of, how do I put this? More of a kid's horror movie, I guess. He did a lot of those, where it was more aimed at like a family audience or a child or something like that. Not bad. Some would argue that it was, tailor-made for children, because it's all about him terrorizing children at the start of that, movie. It's all about him basically being a predator, predatory, feeding on children, and then when they grow up, then what happened to them as children? It keeps coming back to them. They're not safe as adults, which, as a concept, is really terrifying as a kid. I mean, you see grown-ups, they're not scared. They're not scared of monsters, that kind of thing. You think you're going to grow up and you'll be safe. Well, you watch the movie as a kid and you're like, wow, they grow up and they're still not safe. So yeah, but yeah, really, really good. The It, really great movie. That movie was okay. Pet Sematary, really damn good. Some really good horror movies, moments in that movie with the kid, when they bring the kid back. Oh, really good movie. He did The Running Man? Are you shitting me? I didn't know that. Wow. I had no idea. Running Man, obviously fucking amazing movie. One of Arnold Schwarzenegger's best movies. Silver Bullet, another one designed, like, tailor-made for children, basically. I hate Corey Feldman, or whatever his name is. Both the Coreys, I can't stand them. I couldn't stand them when I was a kid. I still can't stand them. They were both in one of my favorite movies of all time, Lost Boys, and I still hate them. Even though that is literally one of my favorite movies of all time, I still hate them both. I can't stand them. Obviously good movie. Secret Window was crap. Shining good. Silver Bullet was pretty good. Sleepwalkers was another one of those really weird movies. It didn't have great horror, even though it was a horror movie. And it wasn't really that, unsettling. It was just kind of there. Things happened. And it never really got the momentum that it should. And the ending was kind of crap, too. So, yeah, probably one of his worst movies. Stand By Me. Based on the body published in different seasons. I recognize the title, but I don't remember the movie. If I could only have one food to eat for the rest of my life. That's easy. Pez. Cherry flavor Pez. No question about it. So it's another kid's movie. Okay. Or at least that little blurb makes it sound like it is. Tales from the Dark Side. Thinner was another really unsettling one. But yeah, good stuff. 1408, like I said, didn't get the credit it deserved. I thought it was damn good. I liked it quite a bit. At that time, there hadn't been a lot of movies like that. Like Stanley Kubrick type movies where it's all... everything could be a red herring. Everything is confusing. None of it is obvious. You have no idea what means what and what connects to what. And where the movie is going and what's going to happen. Plus, I love John Cusack. I always have. He's fucking amazing. Easily one of my favorite actors of all time. Not because he has great acting chops, but just because he is himself. John Cusack is John Cusack. It's like Samuel L. Jackson. It's another great example. Samuel L. Jackson is Samuel L. Jackson. No one is like him. You can't point to another actor that's anything like Samuel L. Jackson. John Cusack's the same way. He is his own thing. There's a lot of actors that are very similar, especially these days. Like most of the male leads, they're interchangeable. Any of them could be in any role, and who gives a fuck. But yeah, love that John Cusack. Anyways, I don't know how I got into Stephen King, but whatever. This is the point of the rant videos. I kind of go off on tangents like a crazy bastard because it's fun, I guess. That's what I do. But anyways, Room 237, good stuff. I'm definitely watching it again. That's a fact. I'm gonna at least watch it all the way through one more time, because there's a lot of stuff I want to try and piece together between the different people. It's very easy to follow one person's logic during the movie because it's sequential. They start somewhere, they go, oh well, this means this, and then they build on it. Then it goes to a different person and they start over with a whole different theory. I want to try to piece the different theories together and see if that makes sense. Probably not. Like, if they're using the same ideas to mean different things, which I know for a fact they did a couple of times, or if some of the things actually mean similar things that it's hard to explain. But yeah, I want to go back through it at least one more time because it was interesting, if nothing else. Very interesting. But anyways, that was Review Rant of Room 237. See you guys next time.